searching for this all my life. You're just my type. I've been looking for a boy who can treat me right. Your dark hair, but those eyes so bright. They look into my soul.
Hello, everyone. Getting back into some shenanigans with my girl, Janet Elizabeth.
Hey.
How we doing?
Good.
It's just the two of us today.
2.5.
Well, yeah, that's right. Oh my gosh, baby boy. Have we settled on a name yet? You don't have to say what it is.
We
but-
have a couple. I'll say them. We have a couple picked out, but Jason and I want to look at him first and kind of see if his eyes will tell us. But we really like. So I really like. My mom's maiden name is Perry. So I, excuse me. I really like Perry. We both like Jaden, which Jason's mom threw into the mix, and I was like, I like that.
Yeah.
And then recently I started kind of thinking about Cade, Cayde, because I think Cade Caperna sounds like a strong name.
That is really cute.
Yeah.
But Jaden, you wouldn't spell with a Y.
I don't think so, because I also kind of like the name Jade as like a short nickname, and I kind of like it spelled Jade,
Okay.
which also feels a little bit more masculine to me than Jayde. I
Okay.
don't know. We'll see though.
You're a
I feel
kid.
like Jason and I look so different. You know, he's half black, half Korean. I'm white. So I'm
Totally.
like, our kid, like, you know, you see like mixed couples and mixed children who some of them look so much like the mom, so much like the dad.
It's
Perfect
so crazy.
mix
You have
of both.
no idea.
Yeah. So I'm like, we don't know what he's going to look like. We don't know. I'm like, I have to see his little face and see which of those names like suit him the best.
And even with the crazy clear 4D ultrasounds, obviously you can't see like skin coloring or anything like that. But I swore that Summer was going to have a huge, like weird flat nose based on that photo.
But she
And
was probably just smushed in there.
But that's the thing. And then when she came out, I was like, oh, she's got a cute little nose. So I was like looking at the photos in the ultrasound, but then I was looking at photos of me right when I was born, and I had the exact same
a
nose.
little smush.
So crazy.
When you look now back at the 4D pictures or 3D or whatever, can you tell, like, if you put a bunch of 4D photos and they showed you one maybe you didn't originally see, like that they printed off for you, or like another image of Summer in you, and they put other lineups of random babies, do you think you could pick her out?
I don't know.
Okay. I always wonder, like, once you see her and know her, do you look at those pictures now and you're like, oh yeah, it's her. Like, I see it in there, or do you think she's still kind of unrecognizable?
No, I feel still kind of unrecognizable.
That's kind of how because I've seen other people's and of kids I know now, and I'm like, huh, yeah.
I feel like, I mean, I have so many of them, but I feel like that doesn't necessarily look like Summer.
Oh, it's so funny that it's her. Is that her little foot?
Right? Yeah, she's so flexible.
Oh, so that's the other thing. They're so smushed in there.
Yeah.
By the time that they look enough like a baby that you can have these special ultrasounds, they're so big and smushed around.
See, but this one actually, I feel like that does look like her. I guess I haven't really looked back at them since a couple of years.
See, I can't, that one I'm like, I see it less. But I don't know. But that's what I mean. Like, as her mother, do you think if they showed you a brand new one from the same ultrasound but that you haven't seen yet, do you think you'd be able to pick her out, even as her mom?
I honestly don't know.
I want to do one of these soon. Did you like your place?
Yes.
Okay.
So, and then I sent you the one, Spotlight 40 baby something or another.
Yeah.
And they come to your house.
Oh, that's nice.
But this one that I went to is in Beverly Hills.
Okay.
It's kind of actually more like mid-city.
Okay.
I just remember it was right around where I used to go and audition for Entourage.
Yeah.
And when I came there, I was like, wow, who would have thought I would be coming to like this same building for
Were you on
an
Entourage?
Yeah, I was mostly just a featured model extra. So I got paid a little higher rate than SAG because it was the model rate. And I auditioned for that show so many times and I never booked the actual speaking role.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I love when I see like a random clip of something. I'm like, is that? And I'm like, oh yeah. And it's like, what if it's you mostly? Or Jax, I feel like was in a lot of like background stuff.
Yeah.
And like I will see him in random stuff that I'm like, is that him?
I know.
It's so funny.
So
because you guys
funny.
were all like hitting all the auditions before Vanderpump happened.
Yeah, we did a lot back in our day. So I want to touch on something on the sad side before we get into any of our questions and topics for this episode. By the time you guys are listening to this, the fundraiser at SUR will have already happened. So hopefully I met you and took a photo with you there. But if you weren't able to make it to California, or you weren't able to make it out to SUR, I just wanted to say that there is a link on my Instagram in my Comey. It's the first thing. We are doing a GoFundMe for the Maui wildfires. We have been working directly with Lexi, who runs the @Pump Rules account, her family, they're the owners of Maui Babe. And so they've made a huge donation to the fund, and we're working just directly in support of them. They're in support of us, vice versa. Viva Verano Lashes and Give Them Lala Beauty. We are matching proceeds.
That's awesome.
Thank you. So I just wanted to put that out there to everyone. If you weren't able to come to the event, you can still donate. I feel like everyone in the world definitely knows what happened, but in case you've been living under a rock or just, not up to date with the news, because I know if you're like me, I avoid the news at all costs, but this was one thing that really hit close to home for me. This is a place I've been going for so long, but last week these wildfires broke out on the Hawaiian Islands of Maui, and it's become now the deadliest in the United States in literally over a century.
I saw that.
As of yesterday, there were 96 reported deaths. There were still like up to 1,000 missing. And I'm sure by the time this podcast comes out, the numbers are going to be even higher. So I just felt like I need to do something with my platform. If I can't be there volunteering, boots on the ground, like literally helping, like what can we do? So we've come together as a cast. I told everyone I would love to turn our See You Next Tuesday this week into a fundraiser. I said no one is taking photos without a donation. I don't care if it's 50 cents, $1, whatever people can donate.
Anything counts.
Anything, because it all adds up. But the town of Lahaina has just been completely destroyed. All Front Street, it's crazy, the photos that I've seen. And then I look back at my vlog, like walking down Front Street, and I'm just like, this is a place I've been going for so long. And Hawaii is just such a special place to me. So I wanted to do what I could. So please, you guys, donate to the fund if you can. Anything you can do, supplies, whatever. There's a lot of people who need help right now. So
you've been doing such a great job sharing, and like,
thanks.
I mean, really, like, I actually found out about it because of I think an Instagram post your mom did.
Yeah.
And she wrote Maui, and I was like, is your dog okay? And I was like, oh, like, never. I was like, and then I looked up the news, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's fires that are breaking out. And it was like, as it was happening at first, and I was like, okay. I was like, my first thought was like, Hawaii is part of the United States. They'll get it under control. And in my, when I think of Hawaii, I think of like the lush green open spaces.
Right.
And my first thought was, oh, it's probably just like a lot of wildfires happen where it's in the hills, it's away from towns. And then once images and stuff started coming through, it was so shocking and devastating to see. I mean, the videos like on TikTok of people jumping out of their cars and just wading in the ocean, just like, there's ash and stuff flying over that. I mean, it's crazy to see something like this happen, like in this day and age, like on a place like that. And same, I've been to Maui before, and when there were some side by sides, I was like, oh, I remember that. Like there's like this shop with this little like Volkswagen Bug that was out front, and I was like, I remember driving past that like many times, like, and then they show it and it's completely destroyed. And then I really feel bad for like there's so many like monuments, churches, things that have been there for hundreds of years.
Wyola Church, they had just celebrated their 200th anniversary, like the most historic church on the island, the first one. And it's so sad.
It's so sad. And I know like Lexi Pump Rules, her page, she's posted some stuff, and the videos of her like where she's talking into the camera because she obviously has such a connection to the island. All of her stuff was just so heartbreaking and really hit home, because when you see all of this stuff and it's shocking and crazy and heartbreaking, but when you also know somebody that puts like, and it's like they're saying my family and my friends and my neighbors, and they're talking about it from first person, it's it really hits home even more. But I'm really proud of you. You've put it out there so much. I feel like you've been sharing all the right donation pages, like putting the crucial information out there, the truth out there of what's happening. I know there's been actually some other reality stars that have put false information out there. And so I think you've done a really good job of like sharing the right information and hoping to make a difference. I think it's really great that you guys are turning see you next Tuesday into a fundraiser event. I know you're trying to work on some other stuff behind the scenes to get as much money as you can there.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of you. I'm a proud friend.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
We're going to take a quick little break and we'll be right back. Okay, I just have to take a second to talk to y'all about what I have been putting on my face every day under my makeup, and that is my Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Primer. So my sister told me about this, and I'm not one to usually use a primer, but since I started, I'm telling you, it has changed my makeup game. And when I shot my Good as Gold music video, I was on set for 12 hours rocking out, and my makeup did not budge. It's like when I'm filming a reality show, there's a lot of meltdowns that I have had. There's been a lot of drama thrown at my way. But one thing, if I'm going through all of that I don't want to have on TV, is my makeup budging. So I am telling you, the Hydro Grip Primer, it lasts up to 12 hours. It prevents makeup meltdowns and leaves your skin with a dewy, glowy finish that will last you all day. And if you want to sleep with your makeup, all night. It's 94% natural, vegan, clean, cruelty-free, paraben-free, silicone-free, oil-free, fragrance-free, all the things free, including gluten-free. It has 4,700 5-star reviews. And yes, I said that, 4,700. So you guys can head over to your local Sephora or get yours at milkmakeup.com. All right, so my face looks good, but you know what? I also need to feed my body. And that is, you know it, yes, Factor meals. The one thing that is, well, first of all, it's America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, but it is the one thing that has been keeping me fueled and fed this season while I have been so busy that I don't have time to grocery shop for myself. I make sure my kid is taken care of. And then when it comes to me, I'm like, boom, Factor meal delivered straight to my door every Tuesday. Enough meals to get me through the week. I poke a couple holes in the plastic. I chuck it in the microwave. 2 minutes, lunch, dinner, midnight snack, whatever is served. And there are so many delicious, flavor-packed meals. I'm telling you, they don't get old. I genuinely crave these meals when I come home, and I'm excited that there's no prep, no cooking, no mess, no cleanup. Everything is recyclable. It is the best for if you have a busy lifestyle and you just don't have time to grocery shop. Right now, you can head to factormeals.com/goodasgold50 and use code goodasgold50 to get 50% off. That's code goodasgold50 at factormeals.com/goodasgold50 to get 50% off. All right, so we're back and we have a lot of questions and topics and things that came in. So I figured, why don't we just do a little Kiki?
I love it.
BFF podcast.
I love it.
A lot of people want to know how Janet is feeling in her pregnancy.
Good for the most part. I mean,
Yeah.
It's stressful. Like right now I'm in baby shower registration or whatever
Registry.
whatever it is, and that's like, it's hard. Like you've been so nice and said like I can send you my list and whatever, and
Yeah.
I've just been honestly straight up copying Jenny Ting's
It was
list.
so good.
Hers was so good, and I
Yeah.
know she's like obsessive like me and like you,
Yeah.
where she's looking at product reviews and stuff. But I'm like, it is hard. Like, you know, when you're pregnant, you're suddenly expected to be an expert on like baby stuff, and I'm looking through her registry and I'm like, what the hell is a bottle top sanitizer machine? I'm like,
Yeah.
what is this? What do I use it for? Where?
Right.
What? Like, I'm like, I have to sanitize every bottle
I
before
actually never had one of those, but what I did do regularly,
Boil, right?
We would boil them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, oh, and then I'm like, get down this rabbit hole of like, yes, you have to keep everything like very sterile and dry. And
Yeah.
I'm like, didn't know that. I just thought you got bottles, put them in the dishwasher, took like, I don't, you know, it's like the little things of
Yeah.
like the actual important stuff. I feel like that you don't necessarily really realize realize. So
Totally.
pregnancy wise, like physically, I feel like I'm in a really great place. Like I've had, knock on wood, a very easy pregnancy, and like, you know, have felt pretty good. The first trimester was really rough, and I was like barfy a lot, and then I hate throwing up, so I just would just not. And I would just like sit with it. It was gross.
Yeah, I never threw up either.
And I was exhausted the whole, like I slept like 10 hours a day at least, some days like 18. And
First trimester?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it wipes you out.
It was unbelievable. I would get out of bed, make a coffee, and I would be like, all right, it's 8 a.m. Like I'll take a nap. Like I'll take an hour nap today.
Yeah.
And then I'd be sitting there on the couch. I'd wake up and it'd be 11:30. My coffee's cold. And I'm like, what happened? How did this happen? And I'm like, Jason, do you know I was sleeping out here? He's like, you looked like you needed it. And I was like, no, don't let me sleep all day. I'm like, I hate that. I'm like to get stuff done. So the first trimester was rough in that sense. Now I feel pretty great. Like, you know, I definitely feel like bloated. It's not fun to binge eat, which I love. Like I love like ordering a huge pizza and eating the whole thing. Now it's like, when you stuff yourself and you already have a baby inside of you, not fun.
I know. At the baby shower, what was that, yesterday?
Yeah. Yesterday I was like, Jenny Ting gave us too many good food options. There's like salmon, short rib, and chicken. And I was
we
like,
had to have them all.
Yeah. I was like, I have to have a little bit of all. And then she was like, oh, and then after I ate all of this delicious food, she was like, we're having a Sunday bar. And I was like, well, I'm not going to say no to that. And then she comes around and was like, we sliced the cake. And I was like, all right, I have to draw the line somewhere. I will skip the cake. But like, I left that and was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to explode and die. But yeah, I mean, it's different. Your body's different. I would say like the hardest thing and the most stressful thing is like learning all the baby stuff that you need and why you need it. And it's like, it's really like you have to study and become an expert on something you've never known. Yeah. And I was a nanny for years and years, and I was like, but only for like 2 years old and up.
Totally.
So
it's
the infant stage is totally different.
Yeah.
I'm learning so much all the time. And it is like a little bit of a panic anxiety of like, am I ready for this? Am I going to do okay? Like, is everything going to be okay? And I know people figure it out all the time.
Everyone figures it out. You'll figure it out. You are two of the most intelligent people I know. You're going to be just fine.
Jason keeps saying, though, he's like, oh, we can just push it off. He's like, I passed the bar after studying for 2 months. So I only need 60 days of studying. And I'm like,
You'll be fine.
Yesterday,
it's
I think
instinct,
I
figure it out.
texted you this, but I was like, we were looking at registries, and I'm like, baby blankets. I'm like, I kind of just want some neutral stuff. He's like, we have 2 baskets of like throw blankets. I thought you were going to donate. Can't we just use those? And I was like, oh no. I was like,
now I know what I'm getting you for your shower. I'm just going to get you a shit ton of baby blankets.
Jason's like, we don't need any of these. We can just use the throw blankets you were going to donate.
No.
And I was like, no,
sweetie.
No, he thought a high chair.
We'll work on him.
We had friends who were meeting us, and they were like, can you grab a high chair from the restaurant for our table? And
I do remember that.
And got a bar stool. He got a bar stool.
Yeah.
And I was like,
country club.
I was like, what is this? He's like, a high chair. And I was like, no, a high chair. You need a high chair. It's a thing. And he was like, oh, like those baby. And I was like, the baby thing.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit nervous.
We'll work on him a little bit, but this is why I don't know if you've talked to them. I wanted you to touch base with the Goo Guru.
Yes.
Because
I have their email.
They literally help with everything. I always love to give them a shout out on the podcast if you guys want to check them out. Guru.
Okay.
G-U.
I need to actually respond to them because I think they did send me a nice email, and I have not. I was like, I'll get back to you.
Yeah, because literally, if you have any question, if you're like, do I need this? Which brand is the best for this? They're a concierge service for all things mom and baby.
I love it. I need that.
And that saved me because I had no idea.
Yeah.
You're going to have so many friends who have different opinions, friends who are like diehard team snoo, and then you have people like me where I'm like, I thought that was unnecessary and a waste of money, but to each their own.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you know, whatever works for you is going to be what's best for the baby.
Totally.
And
that's the hard part is everybody has such a strong opinion.
Totally.
People are like, get this one, no, get this one. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I guess both. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
It'll all work
So
out.
Goo Guru, they can definitely help you out.
Amazing. I'm going to ask them.
I'm so excited for you.
It's
and
gonna be
before
fun.
you do your registry, I literally have so much stuff in my garage in Palm Springs.
Amazing.
That it's like, I don't need my rockaroo. I don't need this lounger chair. There's
I don't even know what a rockaroo is.
You'll know. I'll give you one and you'll want it.
Okay.
But it's just basically like this swing thing that the baby sits in, and it kind of just, it rocks them. It can play music and it like moves a little bit. But
I love it. Okay.
yeah, some babies love them. Some aren't crazy about them. Summer, it was like hit or miss. She either wanted to be in it or she was like, no, I don't like this. But it's a great
How is Summer and her arm and everything now?
She's good. We're starting to tell her now, like we're counting down the days of her because she's getting it off next Friday.
Wow, kids bounce back really quick.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a lot faster than if I broke my arm.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like maybe because their bones are kind of still forming.
Yeah.
But yeah, she already gets it off next Friday.
Wow.
So she's been good.
I feel like she's going to miss her cast.
I think so too.
She looks really cool and you can tell she feels like tough girl when she's walking around with it.
Yeah. She knows how to do everything pretty much with both hands. So it's like she'll color with her left, but then she's like, oh no, actually I can still do it with my right.
I saw her do that at
Eating
your house.
Everything. Yeah. Brock's like, okay, we're just going to like put a fake cast on her once a year to
Keep
get her to
ambidextrous.
using her left.
I love it.
Yeah, she's doing good. And I feel like that was one of the things where, you know, for those who have been listening to this podcast regularly know how bad my anxiety and OCD and all things, just parenthood have been. It was like when that happened, that was one of my biggest fears was my kid getting hurt. And I legit stayed so calm. I didn't even cry right when it happened or when I found out it was broken. I was just like, okay. It is what it is. You know, I'm not going to blame myself. I'm just going to be okay with it because what else can you do?
Well, you have an active 2-year-old who likes to run around, who likes to play, who, you know, is fun. And I mean, she has so much energy. So unless you're literally holding her at all times, which she would never allow, like stuff's going to happen. And if at becoming a mother, like one of the biggest things that has been of comfort to me is like, for example, like the 20-week ultrasound, like I remember going into that and being like, this is a, you know, thorough anatomy scan of the baby. Yeah. And like, I know people who have had scary things pop up. Like Lala had something, I think, where they said that Ocean might have dwarfism from that. And then they did a scan later. Everything ended up being okay. Yeah. So I kept like, anytime that something, I guess, has gone wrong for you guys, but then you see it all become okay. Summer broke her arm. That's, you know, terrifying. But then you see her at the doctor with smiling, getting her cast on, and her not missing a beat afterwards. So it's like really nice actually to see like you guys go through the steps, even when they've been hard things, but then be like, oh, look,
it's all okay.
It all was okay. So like if we have a little baby boy who wants to run around and be rough and tough and he falls and breaks something, I'm going to be like, okay, he'll probably like his cast hopefully as much as Summer does.
No,
you know?
literally before Summer was even walking, I just had a feeling that my kid would be one to break a bone. I was just like already preparing myself for that day. My little cousin, her daughter, she was maybe 3 when she broke her arm. And I remember she had the cutest little cast. And I was like, that's probably going to be Summer one day. And I just mentally prepared myself. And then it was like, you know what? The worst happened and she's okay. And she loves her cast and she's totally fine. I love that they're waterproof now. Yeah. I saw so many people talking shit on Instagram recently. Like, it's going to get moldy. It's going to be stinky. It's going to be itchy. It's going to be this. I'm like, shut the fuck up. It's waterproof.
Yeah. We've listened to our doctor.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need the peanut gallery of the internet.
The mom trolls, I swear.
It's like, it's probably people who have had kids like 10 years ago who they didn't have those type of casts for. And they're probably just mad because imagine how annoying it would be if it wasn't waterproof.
Oh my gosh, I know.
If you had to wrap her up every time.
I already bought all of that stuff because I didn't know casts were waterproof. So I just sent it back to Amazon. I got the waterproof sleeve, the waterproof thing. Like I bought everything. And then when we got her cast, I was like, oh,
you could tell too in the videos that you posted of them wrapping it. It's not the same material as like casts were for us. Like it's not like that cloth.
No,
it looked actually a lot more comfortable and less itchy than I feel like casts were back in the day.
Yeah, it was so crazy. Brock was doing an Instagram live last week and he was explaining how it's waterproof and everything he was saying. The way he said it, I was like, I did not retain all of that information. I was just like, cool, it's waterproof. That's all I know. He's like, it's got these air safe pockets. And I was like, what?
You're like, it does?
Yeah,
all right.
The way he described it. And he was talking about how they got the material wet and then it forms and then this and that. And I was like, all right,
cool.
It's that.
You're like, all I need to know is that she can keep swimming and I don't have to put all the extra stuff on her.
We're even starting her swim lessons back up today because she's been swimming with it. She can still do the safety procedures and like hold on and crawl around and all that. So I'm like, well, why am I pausing them for a month? We may as well keep her used to her swim instructor. And
I feel like summer, as a kid too, you have to burn energy out of.
100%.
It's like partially, I see so much of both of you in her.
Yeah.
Like I feel like she looks exactly like you.
Yeah.
But her like rough and toughness, I'm like, oh, that's Brock. Like
Yeah.
she like really wants to get into things.
Totally. And I love that she will have, that 50-50 growing up, where I want her to be fearless, but also be cautious and be safe, but not be scared.
You can tell she has both of those.
Yeah.
It's
And
really cute.
Yeah, that's like the one thing with Brock that he gets frustrated with me. In Knocked Up, when he's like, I know it's not you, it's your hormones. Fuck you, hormones.
Yes.
I feel like Brock sometimes is like that with my OCD and my anxiety. He's just like, fuck you, OCD.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know. It's like, I don't want Summer to have that. That's why I'm doing my exposure therapy. I'm doing everything I can, because I'll see little glimpses of things that she does where she has to line everything up straight. And I just think that's a normal kid thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, does she have OCD? And
You're doing all the right thing. If there's something that I truly love about you, it's that when something is wrong, you don't just sit around and complain about it. You actually do something about it at all times.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to get on Zoloft, because I thought, maybe this will help. But then when I realized it was making me so sluggish, if I took it at night, so I had more energy during the day, it was harder to wake up in the morning. I was upping my caffeine, and I was like, you know what, maybe this isn't for me.
Right.
But I also knew in that first week I felt so much better, but I stopped smoking weed. I didn't have a single drink.
Right.
And not that I'm even a big drinker, but for that first month on Zoloft, I did not have one sip of alcohol. I didn't smoke weed, but I was just so tired all the time. So my doctor was like, look, for the next week, take it every other day at night. See how you feel. Stop taking it for a few weeks and see how you feel.
Yeah.
So now we're at that stop taking it for a few weeks. I've had a couple drinks. I still have not smoked any weed, but my intrusive thoughts have not really come back. It's been still so much better.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
it's all about the right combination of things, like removing and adding. So as long as you're
kinda
like
trial and error,
going down the journey with your doctor, I think that's the best thing you can do.
Yeah. So update, not on the Zoloft anymore, but still feeling so much better.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy how weed is something that used to make me calm, have less anxiety, be more rational in my thinking. And it used to help my intrusive thoughts. Whereas now with the postpartum OCD and just being a mom,
it's not the same.
No, because I didn't smoke for 2 years. I was pregnant for basically a year with both pregnancies. Then I breastfed for 13 months.
It's an adjustment.
So then when I started smoking weed again for the past year, sometimes it was great, sometimes it wasn't. And I would just be like, oh, fuck, I guess it's the sativa. Maybe I need to go back to indica. And then sometimes I didn't know what strain I was smoking.
Right.
And I was like, this is not good for me
time
anymore.
to take a break.
Yeah.
Like, it's good to clear everything out too, and just also see where your body is like naturally.
Yeah.
I was telling like Jenny Ting this just about Botox the other day. I'm like,
I know.
we can't get Botox, so it's kind of nice because you get to see where your face looks like completely without it, and then when you go back, they'll be able to see like the updated spots.
And I'm telling you, it doesn't bother you as much too after you have the baby. I've been due for Botox for a couple weeks now.
I was like, your forehead's moving.
I just haven't made it a priority. And now I'm
you look great.
Shooting a music video this week. Thank you. But I'm like, fuck, I wish I had my Botox. But I'm like, whatever. I guess I have expression. I did a whole season, all of season 9 with no Botox. And I didn't think I looked worse.
No, you looked great.
So now I just don't even get it as much because I just don't care.
Great.
Yeah.
I love it.
So you'll get there too.
Yeah. Tell me about the music video, can you? Is it with the band members that I saw this weekend?
Yes.
Who, by the way, their outfits, you could just tell
were so good.
They're like the most typical emo band looking guys I've ever seen. They were all wearing like 2-piece pool outfits. One of them was dressed like Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
Like they were just like, when I walked in, I was like, oh, that's for sure the band guys.
Yeah.
Before I even saw you, I was like, that's their table.
Yeah.
They were so cute. They were all so nice and polite too, and seemed like you guys are having really fun time
they're
working
awesome.
together.
Yeah, so we're doing a video this week to the Screamo version of Good as Gold.
Hell yes.
Yeah,
Hell
I'm
yeah.
so excited. My friend Neil, who directed Bryce's Margot Robbie video, is going to be directing this one, and he just has such a vision, and all of these things that we're doing in it is going to be so cool. So I'm hoping to have that video done and edited in the next 2 weeks so we can put it out before the end of the month.
Amazing. Wait, is there an original Good as Gold video?
No, I never did one.
I was like,
That's why I was
am
like,
I missing one? But
our new song that we just wrote, is so good.
Are you going to do a video for that too?
Eventually.
Okay.
Yes.
But first is Good as Gold
But
Screamo.
I was like, we got to do a Good as Gold video. I've
I'm
never
so
done
obsessed
one.
with the Good as Gold Screamo mix. I can't even. It brings together so many things that I love. It's like classic Bravo and like honestly like. Let's be honest, like #1 best song that's ever been by a Bravo celebrity ever.
You.
And there's a lot of good ones to compete with.
It's a catchy one.
There's a lot of other good ones out there.
Yeah.
But that plus like the like 14-year-old in me that just wants to scream emo music at all times. I'm like, this hits it all for me. It hits it all.
No, it's so good. The band, the 27s, shout out to them. They are so talented. And just being in the studio with them, like Lando sings and then Kevin plays guitar, but he's the one who makes all the music as well and like tweaks this and adds this. And I was just watching him make this new song and I'm like, how? What?
I love it.
I can't
And
wait.
did I hear that they might be making an appearance sometime soon?
We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. This episode of Scheananigans is also brought to you by Poise Ultra Thins. So we talk about it all the time here on the podcast. I am absolutely in love with being a mom. Summer Moon is an absolute joy. But let me tell you, some things after having a baby, all of my mamas out there know they just hit a little different. And one thing I like to do on Scheananigans is be transparent and open about all things when it comes to my experiences with motherhood. I talk about this with my girlfriends, and you know what? I've got a giant female audience here, so I like to talk about it with all of you too, because if we're keeping it real about postpartum life, one thing we're not always talking about is bladder leaks. It's not something to be embarrassed about. It is something that happens to a lot of women who also use period pads for their bladder leaks after having a baby. But look, let's be honest, period pads are not designed for pee. Poise Ultra Thins, on the other hand, are. Poise Ultra Thins are the brand's thinnest protection that helps keep you clean, dry, and fresh throughout the day, jumping on top of bars, dancing, singing, working out at the gym, whatever you're doing. I mean, the little moments really are so important, and Poise Ultra Thins are such a good way to enjoy motherhood without compromise, because we as mothers should not be compromising when it comes to that. It takes poise. Learn more at poise.com. Okay, but tell me, who else loves summer but gets a little overwhelmed by all of the plans? Because I certainly know I do. And one thing that helps me with that is Daily Harvest, helping me kick off my mornings the right way with quick, nourishing, and delicious food. Because here's the thing, good days start with good mornings. And if you are anything like Brock, you are going to remind me that it's important to have something nutritious in the morning. And Daily Harvest is one of those things that I have been having in my mornings. The smoothies are so good. Ariana introduced me to these years ago, and I keep them stocked in my freezer. So many different flavors, so many easy to prep options. Not only does Daily Harvest keep my freezer stocked, but it is just always ready when I am with delicious food. And I love that I can also skip the chopping, shopping, the prepping, the post-cooking cleanup, all of that with Daily Harvest. Also, by working directly with farmers, Daily Harvest secures the best ingredients and freezes them at peak ripeness to lock in that always in-season taste and just picked nutrition. What you see is what you eat. We all deserve easy mornings, so let Daily Harvest give you one less thing to worry about. Go to dailyharvest.com/Scheana to get up to $65 off your first box. That's dailyharvest.com/Scheana for up to $65 off your first box. dailyharvest.com/Scheana. All right, so we've got a lot of parenting and mom questions. What are you most excited about when you become a mom? Parenting, anything she's nervous or most excited about?
I would say like I'm most excited to meet him, to see his personality, to watch and see like what kind of human Jason and I are going to create together.
Yeah.
And most nervous for, which I think you can relate to, is the newborn phase and
Terrifying.
stage, like the neck thing, and
that was the worst.
like constant, you know, watching them when they're sleeping and making sure they're still breathing at all times, SIDS, like all of that stuff I'm scared for. I'm excited most for like a 2-year-old and like a 6-year-old and like having a kid. The baby part really scares me.
Yeah.
Just because of all the things that can go wrong.
100%. I think that's totally normal.
Yeah.
But there are so many things, especially for SIDS. I mean, I had anything preventative that you could. You know, first of all, the kid is going to be sleeping in your room in a bedside bassinet. You're going to be right there. You're not going to be sleeping for months.
Yeah.
Because
which I'm fine
newborns
with.
also have to eat, whether it's boob, bottle, formula, whatever, every 3 hours.
Right.
You have to be up every 3 hours.
And my goal is to breastfeed like as much as I can. I'm not against supplementing with formula. I feel like that's something that I've heard people say, like, you know, my goal is 100% breastfeeding. But if I'm not producing enough milk, if, you know, baby's not growing enough, if timing wise it's completely too draining. I've had some friends say, like, as soon as I started supplementing, my mental health and like postpartum depression, like it improved and I felt so much better just when I had a little bit of help with formula. So I'm just like, my goal is as much breastfeeding as I can. Yeah. Formula if it needs to be there. So
I feel like that's the best plan too. It's just not being like, it has to be this way. You know, that's how I was. I was so open to whatever. I remember asking Stassi what kind of formula she had heard about, asking Lala and stuff, because I know eventually Lala had to start when, you know, she was splitting time and she couldn't breastfeed 100%. And just talking to other moms about what kind of formula, but then I was fortunate and I never had to.
Yeah.
But
you were a breastfeeding queen. I remember your freezer. You had like the most organized bags of everything. I tasted your breast milk.
Yeah. I literally, the amount of times I cried over spilled milk.
Oh, I remember, didn't you have something where she wasn't drinking some of the frozen milk and you had to mix something in or reheat it a certain way?
Yes, it was. No, actually, I think she just started maybe drinking it after all. But there was, I had like a high lipase factor or something. And when I tried it, I was like, oh my God, it's gone bad. It was so bad.
I remember you panicking about it.
I don't remember what it was. If we mixed it with fresh breast milk, or I think we had to heat it a different way.
There was something you did slightly different. And you were
you
like,
had to
now
boil
it
it
works.
before you froze it. There was something else I did, but then she ended up drinking it all. I remember the day we had our last bag of frozen breast milk. I'm like, all right, guys, this is it. It's the last one.
Aww.
But yeah, you know, a healthy baby is the best baby, and it doesn't matter how the baby gets fed.
Like, I hope I can do a lot of milk, but if not, I'm not gonna beat myself up over it.
No, totally, and you shouldn't. I'm so excited for you.
It's gonna be wild.
I know.
It's gonna be wild.
We've only got a couple more months.
I can't wait to see Jason with a baby too.
He's gonna be the best.
He's like such a big guy, and like, I'm sure you can relate too because Brock is. But like big guy, little baby, like name a better combination. Like it's just so cute. Yeah, it's just like so cute to see somebody so strong with like somebody so like little baby weak innocent thing. It's like just I don't know. It's gonna melt my heart. I think seeing him as a dad is like one of the other things I'm like most excited for.
Yeah. When we were at Nia and Daniel's, was it last week or the week before, Brock's holding both of the twins. Oh. And I think the photos are on his phone, but he was just like, honey, give me more. And I was like, no. You have
so
friends
cute.
who have babies. You got more friends having babies on the way. No.
Yeah, he can come over and hold ours. I mean, they have, Nia and Daniel have 3 under 2 right now.
Crazy.
So, I mean,
and they're crushing it.
Yeah, I've heard their schedule. They have a really good support system with their families. Like they've had people coming in and out and helping, and they're doing it right, but I can still, they're like, every 30 minutes, this one, then this baby gets on the boob, then the next baby's on the boob, then we take turns this and this. And I'm like, oh my God, you guys are like literally juggling babies over there.
No, but it's so crazy. I can't even imagine.
Bless them for doing it and doing it so well. Yeah. It's impressive.
No, I can't even imagine having another one in the next year. I don't know. People always ask, you know, it's like when you get married, when you're having a baby, and then when you have the baby, when you're having another baby, and people just like always ask.
When do you think it
the
stops?
next
After
thing.
2 babies, do people stop asking?
I don't think the questions ever stop, to be honest.
It's just then like one of your babies having babies, one of you retiring.
Right?
There's never an end to the what are you doing next questions.
No, seriously. It's always something.
It's a lot.
K_lasagna. How did you both know you were ready to have a baby? What clicked? Was there a moment that you guys had, or
we knew, like, you know, once we decided we wanted to get married and, you know, once we bought our house together, we were like, okay, you know, we wanted to make sure we wanted the same thing. So when we entered the contract of buying our house, it was sort of like, all right, the next steps for us that we both agree on are like, we're going to get married and then start a family. Jason's turning 40 this year. So he was like, you know, like he's like, I don't want to be too old of a dad. So like, let's like get this kind of going.
Yeah.
And we said we would start trying in this last summer, right after we were like, we'll start trying on the honeymoon. And both of us got to the honeymoon and kind of looked at each other, and it was like, we both didn't want to be the one to be like, I'm not ready to, in case we would hurt the other person's feelings. But I was like, wow, that kind of came up. I was like, this summer kind of came up quick, huh? And he was like, yeah, real quick. Like for all the stuff we're supposed to be doing. And I was like, yeah, maybe we could like, you know, maybe like after the honeymoon a little bit. And he's like around the holidays. And I'm like, around the holidays is great.
Yeah.
And so that was like, we needed those extra, I think, 6 months to really, because once it was right in front of us, it was still a little scary.
Totally.
And I'm glad we waited. We started trying like in December, like a little bit, like not fully tracking all the stuff. January, we started like really tracking everything. And then we got pregnant in March during Scandoval. So I left Ariana's house the day after everything broke, when
that's right.
all of us were like gathered around crying and screaming and like having like the craziest day. And I was like, I have to go have sex now.
Oh my gosh.
And I like went home and was like, Jason, we have to have sex, but I really don't want to. So will you just like, you're going to have to do it and just be really gentle and nice. And he was like, okay. And I was like, I know this isn't at all sexy,
to make.
and that was the time that worked. And when I took the pregnancy test, I was like, holy shit.
Hey, maybe there was something extra going on in your hormones that day that just woke up your body. And...
You know, and normally when we were trying in previous months, the day that the ovulation test said I was ovulating, we would, you know, try to at least do it like in the morning and then at night.
Yeah.
And that morning was like when I got your phone call, and then we all kind of gathered around and figured out like what we're going to do to support Ariana. So we didn't do it that morning. We only did it in the evening when I got home. And it was like, I guess that time frame, I was like, if there's something good that came out of that whole situation, there is a baby that was made, I think, because the timing lined up, that's happened to be the time that we had sex.
That's so crazy. I love hearing everyone's, you know, conceiving stories, those who remember.
It's never sexy. It's like never at all sexy.
Ours actually was.
What was yours?
So it was, well, the first time when I got pregnant, I have no idea. I mean, we were in a relationship for 5-6 months. We were
doing it all the time. Yeah.
No idea that time around. But then the second time around, there were 2 times. And the first time we were not sober. We were in Palm Springs and it was a fun time, but there was no way he could finish. So I was like, okay, you definitely didn't.
Wow.
Then fast forward a week later, we were moving into our house in San Diego. And the first morning we woke up, it was like, yeah, let's christen this house. And we had the best sex, and I was on top. And then he was like, wait, and like tried to pick me. He was like, and I go, you just got me pregnant, didn't you? And he's like, no. And I was like, you did. I go, you literally know this is
the time,
the week.
Yeah.
I'm like, last week when we were having fun in Palm Springs, like that was like our one night. We just like partied. It was our last night that we were staying there. But I was like, there was no way we made a baby that night. I was like, I think you did. So
you're like, this
for the
is in
next
the window.
3 weeks, it was kind of a mind fuck though, because I treated myself as if I was pregnant, especially after having the miscarriage.
Before you could even test.
Right. So for 3 weeks, I was like, okay, I'm not drinking. I'm not eating this. I'm not doing that. And then I found out I was pregnant.
It worked.
Yeah, but it was.
That is like the sexiest one I've heard.
Yeah.
Jackson Brittany's is like, they had 12 minutes to check out of an Airbnb and the TV was still on. And she was like bent over and was like, get in there. And like, and Jax was like, I don't know if I could do it. And she's like, you can do it in 12 minutes. Like, trust me.
Yeah.
And they did, and it worked. And I'm like,
Boom.
Wow, not sexy.
No. Yeah, I've heard so many different ones, but ours was
it's work conceiving, and it really is like you have to time it out. There's a lot that really goes into it. I spent my entire life thinking if I looked at a guy with abs, I might get pregnant, and then I actually went to try, and I was like, oh, this is a lot harder actually than everybody makes it seem. Everybody makes it seem like if you like even like have dry, what's it called? Dry humping with your like clothes on, there's still a chance that a sperm might get through both layers of clothing and impregnate someone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, it takes a lot. I mean, at least for us, it took a lot of actual planning and tests and like making sure everything was lined up, and it's a scientific process.
No,
I mean,
totally.
sex can be fun and wonderful in its own way, but planning out sex to have a baby can also kill the vibe a little bit.
Yeah, and I feel like if we do try again, that would maybe be more of the vibe if I even take the chance and get pregnant, which I'm still definitely not there. But it was like I had no idea. I mean, we had so much sex. I had no idea I was pregnant the first time. And then the second time, he just knew after my DNC procedure how fertile I was going to be in this certain week. So I said, just gotta be careful.
Yeah.
If, you know, we've only been together 6 months. We're moving in together.
Yeah.
Just know this week if we have sex. And I told him that. And then we did. And he was like, oh, wait. It's that. I was like, you just got me pregnant.
Yeah. I love it.
It was the best chance we had to have a healthy baby. She's perfect. And
I feel like I feel like a couple months ago you were like, absolutely no, like I'm good with just summer. Like
I am.
Don't even whatever. But I feel like there's a little ease now that you've been like, if instead of it's gone from like never to like if, and I'm gonna take that because I want you to have another baby and time it up maybe with us having a second.
I feel like the thing that would really have me start thinking about it more is when the second kids start coming around in the friend group. You know, Lala has another baby. Elaine has another baby. I feel like
what about if Summer starts asking? What if she sees that Ocean gets a baby?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And if she starts asking like, Mama, Dada make baby, like, do you think she could? I know she could melt your heart into it.
I feel like I told Brock this week we're gonna make an appointment with my fertility doctor, and we're gonna see if any of the embryos, once we make them, are viable. I don't know if my eggs are.
Yeah,
but
how many eggs do you have on ice right now?
16.
Okay.
So we need to go fertilize those, see if any are viable, genetically test them, all of that. That's step number 1. Step number 2, if none of them are good, then I would do a full round of embryo freezing where we just immediately make the embryos instead of freezing the eggs and doing this later. So those are the next steps, and then consider a surrogate. But I don't know that I want to chance getting pregnant again with my HELLP syndrome.
I understand that. And I keep saying to Jason, like, let's just boom, baby, back to back, get pregnant as soon as I give birth.
Now.
And he's like, why don't you give birth first and see how that goes? Because I mean, I feel like you had a pretty healthy, normal pregnancy with Summer, and then had a pretty traumatic birthing experience. So I also fully understand, like, after that, like, taking a beat or like not wanting to put your body through risking death again.
Exactly. I mean, I was 16 hours into labor and I was so good. I was like, oh, I see why people do this multiple times. Even the pushing wasn't that bad. It was just everything else that came with it. When I got on the magnesium drip, the HELLP syndrome, just all of that. I'm like, I never want to go through that again.
And there's so much stuff that can happen that you don't know about until you're like in the room, I feel like.
Yeah.
And it's scary,
Very scary. Okay, one more break. We'll be right back. It is still summertime, and even though my little Summer has a broken arm, she is still all up for adventures and arts and crafts and being ambidextrous. And let me tell you, my child inspires me. Seeing how resilient she is. I've never broken a bone in my life, but watching her, I'm just like, yes, kid, you get it. And I feel like summer is also not just the name of my daughter, but the season to make memories with your kids, whether you're staying home or heading out on adventures. This is what is so great about KIWICO, because they're inviting kids to celebrate the season of discovery through hands-on fun. Brock is so good at doing these arts and crafts with Summer, and I just love to see it because I've not always been the craftiest. I definitely was more into writing and reading when I was younger, but Brock is so crafty. and Summer definitely takes after him in this sense. KIWICO encourages kids to get outside and explore and keep them off their screens, which is one thing in our household we are really trying to be better about. They have awesome projects that they have like this bottle rocket kit that helps turn the outdoors into a playground of learning and fun. The KIWICO store has literally so many things for kids of all ages. I'm telling you, check it out. There's no commitment. You can pause or cancel at any time. You can get 50% off your first month plus free shipping on any crate line with code SHAY at KIWICO.com. That's 50% off your first month at KIWICO.com with promo code SHAY. This episode of Scheananigans is also brought to you by Care Of, which is a subscription service that ships high quality, personalized vitamins, supplements, and powders conveniently to your door every month. I have talked about Care Of on this podcast for years, as long as I can remember. They come in these cute little personalized packets that have your name, cute little quotes. It's everything you need in one easy packet that you can just take on the go, so you can take them whenever you need, whenever in your day. If you want to change your life, you have to change your habits. And with Care Of, you get the tools and the motivation that makes it easy to build and stick with the routine as you move from the summer into the fall. So, as you're shifting into a new routine this fall, let's focus on the habits you are going to adapt and the changes you want to make in the new season. The thing I love about Care Of, I love a good quiz. And with Care Of, they can help you find where to start your wellness journey with the help of their quick and easy online quiz. So also what I love about the quiz is it provides personalized guidance with doctor-backed recommendations. You can also retake the quiz as needed based on where you're at in your life. For example, I took this quiz first 5 years ago. I took it again, pregnant, postpartum, because things in your life change. So you got to stay up to date. And for 50% off your first Care Of order, you can go to takecareof.com and enter code BROCK50. Again, for 50% off your first Care Of order, go to takecareof.com and enter code BROCK50. Okay, so we were just saying one of the funniest questions that comes in, and there were several of these, but Kim Schick wants to know, what does she do for work?
This is funny. Okay, so for a while, back when I was co-hosting, that was like a time that I did take time off from work. So I've done a lot of different stuff in my life. But before I moved to Los Angeles, and when I first moved here, I was a sign language interpreter. I have a degree in American Sign Language Interpreting and Education. So I was an interpreter for a while. I managed interpreting agency remotely for a while. After a little bit in LA, I lived off of savings for a little while and was co-hosting, do all this fun stuff. That was the fun part when I feel like when you and I would travel together, I specifically remember like being in Australia at a bar and this girl being like, all right, Scheana, I know what you do. You're on this show. I've heard your podcast. What do you do? And I was like, oh, nothing. And she was like, I don't understand. And I was like, I do nothing. Yeah. And she was like, but how do you? And I was like, I don't know, I make it work.
Figure it out.
And it was like, so then after that year, I took the last 5 years, I've been a personal or executive assistant for
the next part of your
people.
story, I want you to tell in sign language while you're talking for those on the vlog.
I'm so bad. Okay.
You did this for a living.
I know, but it's been 5 years. After I was an interpreter, I then went back to work as a personal assistant. Is that how I would sign that? Personal assistant, and worked for many different people like all over LA. People that you would know, people that you don't know. A big mix of people. But I was a personal assistant, always running around for somebody. And then I had just quit my job. I was matched with somebody. You work with agencies to get personal assisting jobs. So I was with somebody for a very long time, and then started a kind of a new path. I pretty quickly knew with the most recent person that it has to be a really good personal match. You have to like really vibe with the person, like the way your work ethic and schedules and stuff and the way you do things. You can tell pretty quickly, like within like a month, I would say, like if it's going to work or not. So I knew that this person, I was like, we don't work the same. Like this, I'm not going to be good at this. They're not going to like my style. I don't like how they do things. So I was like, let's,
I wish you could say who it was. Those NDAs really get you.
But I was like, this isn't a good match. Like, broke that off, and then I got pregnant like 2 weeks into it, and I was like, oh, it's okay. I'll like find another job, you know, that'll be good. And I was so wiped out the first trimester that Jason and I had a sit down conversation where it was like, he was like, take some time off. Like, we're okay. So it's
That's
a weird
so great.
place.
You're so lucky.
I'm so grateful, but it's also a weird thing, you know, like I still have my own money from savings. I've worked my entire life. So I haven't gotten to the point where I have to ask Jason to pay my credit card bill or anything like on my end yet. Like, he's paying our mortgages and for our desert house and our house here. He's taking on the big stuff, but like, I don't have to go to him if I want to like order McDonald's Postmates breakfast. Like, I can put that on my card.
Oh yeah.
For now, we'll see. Like, I think I got another year of that left, maybe.
Perfect.
But for right now, he's like the breadwinner in our household, and I'm super grateful for that I have gotten to take the time off while pregnant and kind of like explore some fun like side projects and different things, being able to like come and co-host again and like not have to worry about like taking off work or like you know, saying no, I can't take off work. So right now I'm kind of floating by again.
I love that. It is the best though. I mean, I was pregnant, you know, in the pandemic for most of 2020. I was pregnant.
You're
I lived
so
in
lucky.
San Diego. I didn't do anything.
You're so lucky that you didn't have people, that there was no clubs or bars,
no music festivals,
hot tequila breath in your face.
Nothing. I literally missed nothing. But the other thing, like, you know, you just had COVID and you're pregnant. That was scary. Terrifying for me. I feel like this time around I wouldn't have been as scared.
I'm happy it's like, if it was like when it was first happening and there was a lot more questions about it, this time I called my doctor and she was like, hey, as long as it's just basic cold symptoms, you're okay. She was like, there was a lot. I couldn't like, normally when I get sick, I drug myself up. I'm like, call my doctor. I'm like, give me that Scissorup. Give me whatever good stuff. I'm like, what's the strongest thing you can give me? I like very much sound like an addict when I call my doctor when I'm sick because I'm such a baby.
Yeah.
So this time it was like, I could not, she was like, you can have 3 Tylenol a day maxed out at this many milligrams. So there I am like taking my 1 in the morning and then stretching it out and being like, how long until I can wait to take the second one?
Yeah.
And I'm like, this sucks. So that part was like not fun, that I couldn't like get all druggy high from when I had COVID. But so pregnant was different, but it was safe. And a lot of people, Nia reached out to me, was like, I had COVID with the twins when I was pregnant. Everything ended up being okay.
Right. Yeah.
She's like, don't stress yourself out. So between talking to my doctor and friends, I was like, okay. And it really was short. And this is the 3rd freaking time I've had COVID. And it was by far the easiest and shortest. Like, I don't know. I think we were sick for like 4 days, both Jason and I.
Totally.
We were stuck together again, which was like, oh my God.
Well, you're going to be when you have a baby.
We were like, what do we talk about? Like, do we have anything in common? Do we like anything? We were out of shows to watch. We were just staring at each other. And I'm like, oh, your face.
Well, at least he's got a good face.
He does have a good face.
You know?
He's got a good face.
Yeah, he's got the abs. He got you pregnant.
He sure did.
I did see another comment that came in from Claudia J. Perry.
Oh, that's my mother.
She said, you girls can just talk about how wonderful your mothers are.
Oh, we do love our moms.
So when is she moving out here?
So we're finishing our garage that's unattached from our house into a little guest apartment that's gonna be like 400 square feet. It's right now we're waiting for the permits to get approved. They should be approved like in the next month. As soon as they're approved, we're breaking ground like immediately. We're also doing a pool, but both of these things are supposed to be done. Our contractor swears, like he's like, I'm aiming for your due date, or like it should be finishing right as the baby's getting here.
Okay.
Contractors, I feel like, never fully, get stuff done. I really like our guy. He's with Neo Builders. His name's Joe. He's awesome. But he is promising like around our baby due date, where like if we have to have my mom get an Airbnb for the first month, that's fine. But by the end of the year, everything should be done project wise so that my mom can move out here and then she can raise this baby for me.
How do Jason and your mom get along?
Really well. Really, really well. My mom's my mom and your mom are very similar, like in the sense that like,
and Brock and Jason are very different. That's why I ask.
But my mom's like very much like, I can be like, you're making me a little crazy. Can you, like, we're very close where I can be like, you're making me crazy. Can you leave me alone a little bit? Or like I can be very honest with her. My mom also doesn't want to be around all the time. She's very independent, and like she makes friends very easily. Like I'm afraid that we're going to move her here to help with the baby, and then I'm going to call her and be like, where are you? Like, and then she'll be like, oh, Erica, Lisa and I are like out at this band, or like we're watching, or like there's a play opening or this restaurant opening. Like my mom always finds all these things to do.
Yeah.
So I'm not so much worried about her being like intrusive in our lives. I'm more like, you know that you're coming here to help with the baby, right? You can't be like Miss Social out here.
Yeah.
And like she's already made such good friends with your mom, like Lala's mom. All the moms out here, she's already has like a little crew with.
I love that.
So yeah, I think, and Jason and my mom laughed together a lot. I think he was nervous at first of having his mother-in-law live 100 feet behind his house.
Yeah.
But I think the more time they've spent together, and when my mom's here, she's like doing our dishes, she's like, oh, I pulled your laundry out. I didn't know where, some of this stuff went, but I folded everything. Or like, she just does little stuff where I'm like, oh, that's awesome, actually.
No, totally.
And she like helps herself to things, like we don't really have to host her. So I think that the more she's visited, the more he's like, oh yeah, this is really nice to have extra hands of help.
And it's the best when you have your baby being taken care of by the grandma, because you can trust your mom 100%. It is such a big help. So I'm really happy that she's able to move out here to help you, because I don't know what I would have done with my mom. I mean, still, it's like we're currently looking for a nanny/teacher just to have someone else, because we just need more help than just my mom. There's also things sometimes I want all of us to do together, and we're like, well, we can't if it's after 8 p.m. So we're still looking for someone to help out. The girl we have right now is great, but she's not super available. So like last week, she was only available one day. And then when it came to that day, it was Friday. We forgot she was even available Friday. Then Brock was swamped Friday. I had interviews. And we realized at like 4 p.m. on Friday, we're like, shit, we could have called Gabby. I was like, damn it, I didn't realize today was Friday. And it's Friday. But no, having the mom is the best.
That's like, I've seen how, especially you and Lala have your moms close by, and the relationship. I had a super close relationship with my grandparents growing up. So seeing how your kids are with their grandparents, and just how at ease you guys seem versus some other people when they're like, oh, I'm leaving. Like Jackson and Brittany have a great babysitter that they've used, but they check in a lot more with the babysitter.
Oh, for
compared
sure.
to like when Sherry, Brittany's mom, is here, they seem like they can kind of disconnect more.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, the trick is the grandma. That's that's the secret sauce here.
Definitely. Oh, well, I'm so happy for you and just where you're at in life. You are literally glowing.
Thanks.
And this is a fun little kiki.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So just a reminder, you guys check out the link. I'm going to put it in the description of this podcast on YouTube, on the audio podcast. It's also on my Instagram to donate to the Maui wildfire relief. And we'll be back next week. Also with Janet co-hosting, getting into some more shenanigans. Thanks for listening, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
I've been searching for this all my life. You're just my type. I've been looking for a